Hello, my name is Jamie Telche. Right now, I'm doing a reflection on culture, ethnicity, and race um, as pretty much a video discussion of pretty much my answers for the different questions that was posed to us. So let me go right ahead and just go ahead to the first prompt. How do the social identity, culture, ethnicity, and race um, impact you, your students, and school? First, it impacts me as a teacher or as a young man because, for one, I'm of mixed race. I'm half Puerto Rican, half Trinidadian, and for me, culture is very important. I learned a lot more about my father's side of culture, Hispanic, through me fully going to talk to my father. I didn't grow up with my father, so being able to talk to him once I got to college was very helpful in understanding my Hispanic heritage, my understanding of Spanish and how important that was to me, different things that he did when he was younger. Like we both play baseball. Baseball is very big in the Puerto Rican um, culture. My ethnicity, me being Trinidadian, me having the opportunity to live there, understanding that when I was there in Trinidad, education was very important. And I saw that at a very young age, education was pushing people to greater and better things. Race is very interesting to me. A lot of people assume I'm one thing when I'm something else, but I do not let that stop me from especially having the opportunity to teach. You know, as a teacher, I am blessed to teach kids about social culture and identity and having them understand that your identity can be more than one thing. Your identity can shape you as a person. Your identity can also, be something that holds you back if you let it. Your as a teacher, I would, tell my students about my own experiences of being someone of a different race or someone of a different culture or background. As with my school, I'll also, let my staff, have different understanding of me. When we have communication about different things, just having them understand that those things that, culture, ethnicity, and race shape the person that I am today. Um, so understanding that the social identity of those things help me shape myself and help me teach my students how to be a good example of that and to foster a clear understanding of how those things can affect your education and move you forward to what you need to be doing. Next question is, what assumptions do we make about people from different race, ethnicity, or others? For example, again, as I stated earlier, a lot of people assume that I'm a light-skinned African American male, when in fact I'm not. I am, again, half Puerto Rican, half Trinidadian. So the assumption of people when they see me, they assume I'm of this culture, I'm of this race. So they already, the pre-perceived notions of those things as me being of another race, they assume I'm this when I'm clearly not. And I've been blessed to educate a lot of people on what I am and how you should approach someone like that. You should be very open-minded when it comes to that. I personally feel that I will always teach my students not to assume things about others just because of how they look or how they act or how they talk, because that's not being open-minded. That's just being very biased. And as an educator, I feel that I would do what is necessary, to teach my kids that you have to be open-minded. You can't assume somebody's one thing when they could clearly be something else. I have a Puerto Rican girlfriend, and her complexion is very different from mine, but that doesn't stop me from learning more about her and her family. And I understand that using those things help shape the person I am today, and then help me teach my students on what to not assume when it comes to that. Um, what else could I say? Let's see. Culture. Culture is just, you can't assume anybody's culture because everybody's culture is very different. Um, Ethnicity, again, that's just background, where you came from. I think assumptions a lot of times get people get people saying the wrong things that shouldn't even be said, or saying things that they assume is right when it's really not. So when it comes to things like that, you just have to be very open-minded. Learning a lot from this book, about excellence of equity. I understand that we have to be fair to people. We have to be honest with people, but not just people. As educators, we have to do that for our students because our students deserve that. They need that. It's very important for us to show our students to not assume anything, or make any assumptions of other people because they have to understand their own, but be open-minded to others so they'll be better informed, better educated, just better learners. So I feel that's very important. So assumptions are not always good. Next question. Pose my own answer for Sigil and Bacon's 2015 question. Why is there a dichotomy? Where some students achieve and some students don't? I think there should not be any dichotomy at all when it comes to education. Education should be open to everyone, regardless of background, social and economic status, race. That shouldn't be anything holding anyone back. Yes, students may have different learning levels, learning styles, learning abilities, or yes, there are disabilities which kids have IEPs that are plans that are educated, plans that are formed to make sure that you teach students the right way. But we should not hold those students should not be held back. We should always have high expectations and have our students reach those high expectations. All students can learn, all students can achieve through the many stories that's in this book about the Alberton schools, the Massachusetts schools that started seeing that, detracking the students was unnecessary and just not appropriate and just not making the kids grow, not having the kids, exposing the kids to things that they needed to see, but also, even though those kids you may have think not be at the right level, having the right support, having the teachers, putting the tools in the hand of the teachers to really educate those kids to make them move forward onto bigger and better things will make our students well informed and well educated, and we won't have the issue of any dichotomy. All students can achieve, all students can learn. It's just how we find ways to support and improve and help them if they're struggling, and if they're not struggling, how we make them move forward, how we grow them, how we increase their knowledge. As educators, we're always learning. We have to understand that what we learn, we have to be able to also teach our students so they can grow. As a math teacher, I feel that having my kids feel comfortable in the classroom is important so learning will be good, and then having the different tools and resources like Quizlet and Kahoot and different online websites or YouTube that teach them how to do things in Khan Academy. Have them practice different examples over and over and over helps them become better and helps them understand that repetition builds good practice. But with the good practice and someone that knows what they're talking about, they'll be more prepared to do well on a test or answer a question related to it or being able to write it out. So I feel like there shouldn't be any dichotomy in education. Everybody can learn. It just needs the right support, the right help. The last question: why is it important to develop equity in my classroom? It is very important to develop equity in any classroom because you want to be fair. You want to have a place where students can speak freely with no type of animosity, no type of fear or discrimination or anything like that, because the classroom is theirs. It is my classroom as a teacher, but they should be able to speak freely, not only school related events, but and even in the math classroom, which a lot of people seem like all you learn about in math is doing 2x plus 3y equals this or whatever. No, math is also dealing with logic, which kids sometimes have a hard time grasping the concept. But if you have a fair classroom, then you logically are helping kids reach a level of understanding that takes other kids many years to reach. if you're a fair teacher when it comes to math, and you always let students know there are multiple ways to find the answer, but you have to pick the right answer. We have to understand that with equity, we also are making all those things available to our students. Everything is theirs, everything is theirs to use, to understand, to take hold of, and grow from it, And in the classroom, it has to be like that. It has to have equity, open discussions, feedback about different things, tutoring sessions, offering all those things to those students, individual like lesson stuff if need be, problems, projects that, enhance kids that need it, or extra practice the kids might need to do in elective classes. Just finding ways to make it fair for all students, and having the students know that they have the opportunity and the time. They have the opportunity, and I will make the time to make sure that they have that. Equity is very important. Equality is very important. Our society, when it comes to education, should be for every child. Every child has a right to free, well, instructed education. But as teachers, we have to make sure that when we're saying that, we're actually doing it. I'll do everything in my power to make sure that happens, because I feel like I said, without education, I wouldn't be where I am right now. I wouldn't be doing this video and being able to talk about education in the way I feel, and how my culture and my ethnicity and my race has helped shape me as a person, to help me teach the future leaders how they should feel about these things. So we understand that equity is important. We need it. Teachers need to push it. School districts need to push it, and it needs to just be an ongoing thing until we achieve those, not only those scores, but really have those students really take over and do things that are great for not only our country but the world. This is the end of my video. I hope you enjoy. I learned so many things about it. Any feedback, any questions, just leave it at the post, or just send me an email or anything about it. My email is tellechejamie@gmail.com. TELLECHEAJAIME@gmail.com. Have a good one. Good night.